Wonderful. Welcome to the Paradise Paradox. My name's Aaron Battle. You see me here sitting on the front stairs of the main pyramid of Tulum, the principal pyramid of Tulum. I had to cross a few no entry signs and jump a few gates and fences. Well, really, it was only a little bit of rope that said don't pass. But how often are you in Tulum? You need to make it worth your while. It's really hot. Like, I'm talking super hot, and sitting here on top of on the front stairs. I was hoping no one sees me, seeing how long I can make it. But I can actually see the full horizon, and it's literally just green all the way around, like as if I'm just looking across forest or, I don't know, beach bush. I'm not sure what you call it, but it looks absolutely amazing. Tulum is just, I mean, the weather and the tropicalness of this area of the world is brilliant. Now, there's just so many ruins here. It's actually so much larger than what I thought it was. Just looking at the pictures, I imagined, you know, one or two pyramids on the beach, which is quite, it's just so fresh and bright and colourful. It's very impressive. My plan was to come here and jump in the water straight away to get refreshed, but it just appears that I couldn't actually get to the water because last week it's like there was a whole lot of dead fish and dead seaweed just all float up on the beach, which is actually the whole area, because I noticed there's quite a bit in Playa del Carmen where I've been staying the last couple of days as well, which is very it's a little bit dirty. It didn't bother me too much. I still went for a swim, but anyone that doesn't like the feeling of seaweed or doesn't like getting prickled, it wasn't cool. Getting down here to Tulum, there's guys selling you stuff everywhere, but that wasn't too much of a problem. I had a bit of a chat with one of them. They invited me into a restaurant. What I wanted to know was, I wanted to ask him about this drink that I found online that is called balche. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I imagined it would be like some kind of pulque, because what it is, it's a fermented honey. It's a fermented honey mixed with some tree bark. The tree, I believe, is actually called the balche. Now, I asked the dude at the restaurant on the way in whether he has any or where do I find some. I mean, a fermented honey drink mixed with bark. Sounds like something spiritual pathways. I'm in. Give me a shot. Load me up. It's a thick liquor, almost like a smooth honey with some kind of alcoholic background. Really thick. Because I asked him to serve me some up. He didn't have any, but what he did have, he prepared a bottle of the bentum. I'm not sure if that's how you say it or if that's what it is, but it was absolutely delicious, and it was almost like it was very short. It was a very short drunk, but you instantly felt this higher energy, this happiness. The actual bottle said, you know, full of Mayan energy, which I thought was great, very interesting. The architecture wasn't built for people like us, like our height, our stature. Like, if you look around, a lot of the rooms and the doors are actually really quite small. I'm talking maybe like 1.5 meters max. You got to check them out. Also, another interesting feature of Tulum is this huge, thick stone wall that's around the whole city. You really got to see the maps to get it. But there's like this big, thick stone wall that pins it against the beach. But it makes it look like some kind of fort. I've heard of these cities being described like a computer because of the design, the way it's laid out. Quite often they resemble circuit boards or electronics. Now, the most common example of this is the city of Teotihuacan. This leads me to some alternative thought, some knowledge from, I think they got me. Some knowledge from a fellow human. He talks about how in 1985 he came out here and planted some crystals to sharpen. Hola, ¿cómo estás? No? I think they want me to go. To be continued. So overt, it was covert. Apparently not. New scene. Okay. So we got off the bus. We got off there. It's like a transporter or like a high-ace van. It cost about 40 pesos to come down here. And we stopped right at the front of a little restaurant. Of course, all the people are out there and they're trying to sell to you. They're trying to wave you in. Hey, have you booked? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Whatever. So, of course, you know, we haven't had breakfast yet and we left the house pretty early. So we decided to stop at a restaurant. And, of course, I mean, there's a big sign out the front. 2-for-1 margarita. So there was no doubt I was gonna fuel a margarita for breakfast. That was interesting because, of course, we stayed and we ate. And 6 margaritas in, I decided to ask a few questions like, hey, you know, you're a local. What do you think? This is one of the bar staff. It's like, you know, what do you think of Tulum? Have you been here long? The guy's only been here working for a year, but he still had a good view. You know, he said he's checked out a couple times. And, of course, the big mystery is, where did all the people go? We're talking about civilization. 800 AD and reached their peak in 900 AD. So, of course, their peak of their art and their culture, their society, their civilization. I'm not sure if they had a democracy. Perhaps, perhaps not. We think we do, apparently. So, where did they all go? This is so big question that everyone wants to ask. Following the work from a fellow human of mine, Melchizedek, he seems to think, well, for reading his book, he released a book, Serpent of the Light. Now, in this book, it was basically stories of his journeys and recharging the planet Earth. Looking for, the scene that I'm actually really interested in is where he actually came to Tulum. Now, this was in 1985. He decided to come to Tulum because he had this message that came to him, and he didn't know what exactly he needed to do, but he knew exactly what he needed to do. And he came here with a bag of crystals, and he needed to leave the crystals in strategic places around these pyramids so that could reactivate the energy of the area, all in turn to reactivate the net of consciousness. Because he talks about how there's three different grids, energy grids around the planet regarding the human being. He explains the theories on how all animals have this energy grid where I believe you can probably jump across to morphic fields and understand, like, where an animal's born, it already knows what to do and how to behave based on the knowledge that it can access in this grid or morphic field. Melchizedek explains that there's 3 different types. The old energy grid, you've got the current energy grid, and you've got the new energy grid that's like the evolution. It's often called the Christ consciousness, or I guess for me, it's the next level of human being where we're all evolving to. So he placed a crystal here in front of, below one of these pyramids. Now, it was 1985, so of course there wasn't all these little walkways and ropes and sticks and barriers so you can't get in. So of course, I just jumped one, but I guess he would have been able to walk around here and do whatever he wanted freely. He's planted the crystal, and if you keep reading the book, it actually goes on to a lot more detail and interesting stories about what happened. They came here to do a meditation ritual and to talk to the energy of the land. But what actually happened was actually quite more interesting. I do recommend you read this book. But he was able to talk to the ancestors. Now, if I could talk to the ancestors, the question would be, guys, where did you go? Why did he leave everyone in such a rush? I guess what he says is that they're still here. The ancients are still here, but they evolved to a level where they could house a being of light, or almost like light plasma. Like they didn't have to encase themselves in this material, animal, human shell. That opens up a whole new level of questions and thought. But it does explain the later thoughts and the later ideas of these plasma people. Plasma people, and these are the people, or the beings. Apparently, they're only like a meter or so tall. A little correlation with the architecture that we see around here. Well, anyway, these plasma beings still live here in apparently big sacks, big yellow sacks, like almost like crystalline energy cities below Mexico, which apparently 50 plus kilometers round crystals that are below the earth. I believe there's one underneath Mexico City, and where you can see that these ships, and they're plasma ships, the plasma people, which enter through the volcano of Mexico City, Popocatépetl, and that's where they live. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure at all that. I like the idea. It sounds very Indiana Jones. It's very cool, but you know, I think people like me need to stay a little grounded. We need to stay in the real life, or we're going to slide down a slippery slope of craziness, and you mightn't see me for a very long time. But that book is called The Serpent of the Light, written by Drunvalo Melchizedek. Particular stories of 1985 and his adventures through Mexico. Absolutely brilliant. Now, the reason why I wanted to come to Tulum is because not only is it's one of the wonders of the world, it's just amazing. The water should normally be blue. They're not too sure what happened with the plague of the fishes. I'll show you some photos. It's very interesting otherwise. I brought my swimmers. I was ready to go for a swim, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But overall, the reason why I wanted to come to Tulum was because Tulum is the city, is the throat chakra of the Mayan civilization. Throat chakra in Sanskrit is Visuddha. And apparently this is it's at the base of your neck, almost back towards your spine, and it's directly connected to your thyroid. If you're not up to date with your chakras, look them up. There's 7 chakras. So this is number 5. And it actually helps you with verbal communication, with your creative expression. It's essentially a connection to the universe and all interactions with sound and vibration. And anyone that's done their science homework, sound and vibration is our complete realm, is this complete experience of the material. The material is the dancing energy. So the dancing energy materialized. That's your perspective, your reality. So it's extremely important to make sure that your 5th chakra, that your throat chakra, is in tune. Now, online there's many different meditations. When you have good energy in your throat chakra, you don't seem to have issues with voicing your opinion. You seem to communicate very well. On the other side, if you have issues with your throat chakra, you sometimes have pain in your jaw, you have trouble expressing yourself, you sometimes feel anxious or shy when you need to speak in public, when you need to talk in front of people. Something that I guess we all do. We all do. Nobody likes public speaking. So do a little 5th chakra meditation and get that energy level right. Just coming back to the Mayan people. First things first, it was very common, fashion almost. It was fashionable to put boards on the front of their children's heads as babies, to press the front of their forehead, so they had like a front, like a flat front face. This was apparently very common in the higher upper society of the Mayan people. So I'm not sure why they would do that, but it does explain why there's a lot of Mexican people with flatter style faces. I don't know, is that an epigenetic thing? Can that follow through? And the question is, why would they do that in the first place? Like, why would they be interested in doing that? What were they trying to replicate? Or what was so fashionable about having like a front flat forehead, nose, or just like a front face? Were they trying to lift the skull a little bit, to grow like a taller head? I'm not too sure. I'm only basing that on artwork that I've seen. But there's a good question. And this drink, or the whole people, had this serious connection with the higher realm. It was like this gateway to like the spiritual and mental realms. They were all aware of there being more to life than just this physical. So perhaps that's why they could live so simple and almost look like they lived in harmony. To have a civilization around for 300 years, that's what I mean led to believe. This idea of society of purification, where the whole idea was to evolve, the whole notion of living, they understood that this is a pure realm of dream, to be able to purify the material, the human body, and then manifest a gateway to a higher intuition where they didn't need to worry about living in the future, where they could focus on just being so present in the moment, enjoying the synchronicities of the natural life. Other interesting facts: create the zero. Their number system for that era was one of very few where they're able to articulate nothingness. They had a number system from 0 to 20, where 0 had its own place. I didn't realize, but apparently that's something that people of that time didn't have. I guess the similarities between the understanding of the chakras of the planet and the energies. If you look across to the east, in the Indian civilizations and the Chinese civilizations, I believe they had a similar notion. It maybe appeared new to explorers that arrived, where they had people such at a primitive level that were able to articulate nothingness. It was a new idea. Oh, I don't know, maybe they were able to achieve that through this drink of balche. So to wrap it up, I guess we're left with the questions. After all the cultural achievements of their art, of their architecture, of their knowledge in astronomy, why were the cities abandoned? And where did the people disappear to? Theories have developed through many years, such as perhaps there was a war, perhaps disease, perhaps scarcity. Other theories suggest maybe climate change. I thought that was late propaganda, but I don't know. History does seem to repeat itself. Either way, you can see there's still a lot of Mexican people here that are descendants from the Mayan people. So I guess they didn't all just disappear. However, the cities were abandoned. To continue enjoying the adventures of the Paradise Paradox, jump onto your YouTube and subscribe. Jump onto Facebook and press like. Follow us, pop down notifications, all that. Or just jump on our website, www.theparadiseparadox.com, and check out the latest episodes. Peace. Cut. New scene.